Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about SRT, or Street and Racing Technology, which is known for making high-performance Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles found at the top of the lineup. During these murky times for Mopar, the SRT division was disbanded around 2021 and has been laying dormant until now, but it's been revived once again. So today I'll talk about a brief history of SRT, from the early origins in 1989 as Team Viper, and then about how and why SRT got disbanded in 2021, and the rebirth of the SRT division and what that means going forward. So let's get started. So as for a quick history of street and racing technology, the early origins of SRT started way back in 1989 as Team Viper. In 1988, Chrysler president Bob Lutz suggested to head designer Tom Gale that the company should try to produce some type of modern Cobra vehicle. A clay model was presented to Lutz a few months later, and he gave the go-ahead to produce a concept which would be the Viper. That would appear at the 1989 North American International Auto Show. Due to the massive success of the concept, Chief Engineer Roy Schoberg was directed to develop it as a production vehicle, and he selected 85 engineers to form Team Viper in March 1989. 2 test mules were created of the Viper, one with a 5.9-liter V8 with 300 horsepower, and one with an iron V10 with 360 horsepower. Schoberg took Chrysler chairman Lee Iacocca for a ride in the tester with the V10, and Iacocca drove it around Highland Park in Michigan. After the ride, Iacocca told Bob Lutz, "What are you waiting for?" and the Viper officially had the green light for production. The cars began shipping in January 1992 as the Viper RT10 Roadster, so you could argue the first SRT vehicle was technically a Viper, long before the SRT name was ever used. The next phase of the early SRT days had to do with the Prowler, and that was known as Team Prowler. This team was set up a bit differently, where Chrysler chose what they called the Dirty Dozen of engineers, picking the best but also the most bad-tempered, argumentative, and uncooperative engineers from Chrysler to help to get the Prowler put together. Team Prowler and Team Viper would merge to become Specialty Vehicle Engineering, or SVE, and that would get renamed to Performance Vehicle Operations, PVO, from January 2002 until 2004. The chief operating officer of Daimler Chrysler at the time, Wolfgang Bernhard, wanted to turn the SVE into something special for the Chrysler brands. So after that, the team was renamed to SRT for the Chrysler, Dodge, and Jeep vehicles, aka Street and Racing Technology, and the name stuck ever since. In 2012, Chrysler wanted to turn SRT into their own brand under the Chrysler Group, so they would sell the 2013 and 2014 Viper as an SRT and not a Dodge. But that plan never really worked out, and it was a lot more useful to leverage the existing brand names and just add SRT to them, like SRT Charger or SRT Grand Cherokee, so they reverted back to it, and in May 2014, the SRT brand was reconsolidated under Dodge, and it operated like that until it was dissolved in 2021. And that'll bring us to the next part of the video, looking at SRT being disbanded. So looking back at the SRT division disappearing, not 1 month after the official completion of the Fiat Chrysler and PSA Group merger, an anonymous Stellantis spokeswoman issued a statement, and that was published by the Mopar website Stellpower, that read, quote, "In February 2021, all of the core elements of the SRT Performance Engineering team were integrated into Stellantis' global engineering organization. SRT engineers will now be mixed with performance engineers from the PSA side or Stellantis, and both teams will be able to work on high-performance projects across all brands in the Stellantis portfolio." End quote. So from these words, it seemed that there would be no more future SRT branded vehicles, and the people that made up the division will no longer operate together under one roof, and will be spread into Stellantis' global engineering. Bottom line, at the time, I said to think of the SRT division as a room of people with an FCA, and now the people in that room are still here, but they have been dispersed throughout Stellantis. So that was in 2021, and we know now that other than existing vehicles like the Durango, there haven't been any new SRT vehicles since then. Nothing new for the Jeeps, Rams, Dodge Charger, Chrysler, nothing, which is a seemingly disastrous and foolish move for Stellantis. There was no justification for this, but looking back on it now, it seemed that former Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares was just hell-bent on removing performance vehicles in favor of boring and fuel-efficient cars. Now though, Stellantis is thankfully relaunching the SRT name, as the various Chrysler brands will shift their focus back to high-performance models. Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and even Chrysler always offered various types of high-performing models, like the SRT8, SRT10, SRT392, Hellcats, and TRX to name a few. The one exception being those SRT down years from 2021 to 2025, with no new vehicles. A few weeks ago, though, Stellantis released videos across their social media platforms announcing the intent to revive SRT.
But 36 years ago, 4 years before this building was completed, a very small group of engineers created something special that to this day fuels a subculture. But it is time now for us to harness our past, to accelerate harder and faster towards our future. So today we start recruiting, we start rebuilding, and we refire the machine. We stop being quiet and we get loud again. Today, we relaunch the world-class SRT Performance Division.
Tim Kuniskis, who is the CEO of Ram and the man responsible for massive moves from Dodge in the past, like the introduction of the Hellcats and Demons, will also lead the re-established SRT Performance Division. He also got a newly created position as head of American brands and North America marketing and retail strategy for Stellantis. He will report to Antonio Filosa, the newly appointed Stellantis CEO. Filosa spoke about Kuniskis being perfect for the job, connecting with customers, and building brands using his energy and mindset. Kuniskis spoke about this move, saying that, quote, SRT is another box that we needed to check as we head into a product launch cadence, enabling more performance than we've ever seen before. We're getting the band back together. It's time to get loud again, end quote. So Kuniskis plans to pick the best powertrain and vehicle dynamics engineers from each brand and bring them together on one dedicated SRT team. Once that's established, the SRT team will also oversee Dodge's Direct Connection division and Stellantis' North American motorsports initiatives. But what exactly does this return mean? Stellantis hasn't made any specific promises regarding the revival of SRT, but with the production of V8 models restarting in August, it could lead to the Hellcat models returning at the very least before other new SRT models are released. The press release about the resurrection of SRT also said, quote, the move marks a bold step in unifying high-performance engineering across Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram under a single dedicated identity, end quote. So that hopefully means we'll see SRT vehicles from all four of those brands in the not-so-distant future. SRT will also deliver vehicles that push the boundaries of power, aerodynamics, handling, and technology, as they say. Stellantis also says that these performance promises include precision on the track as well. Either way, we've already seen that people aren't falling in love with the electric Dodge Charger as Stellantis had hoped, and the Dodge Hornet is one of the slowest selling vehicles in North America. Dodge needs to get back to their performance ways and communicating themselves as a high-performance and exciting brand to their previously loyal customers, and the SRT nameplate will pique any Mopar fan's interest right away. So hopefully there will be a 6-pack Charger SRT, some kind of new Ram SRT would be great, a Jeep SRT for models like the Grand Cherokee, Wagoneer S, or Grand Wagoneer, and even something on the future Chrysler models. Dodge reportedly has a new stealth SUV on the way to replace the outgoing Durango, which would be a perfect candidate for a new SRT treatment. They could also throw the SRT nameplate on a Hornet, but that doesn't make much financial sense as that model deserves nothing with the poor sales so far, and it's not a performance SUV, so an SRT nameplate wouldn't help it much. Beyond that, there are endless possibilities like a reborn Challenger or Viper SRT, or a 300 SRT return. It will likely be a long while before we see or hear about any of these, as it seems that Stellantis was in limbo here for several years deciding what to do with SRT going forward, but I just hope we can start to see some real performance variants across the full Stellantis North American portfolio. Kuniskis is the right man for the job, and hopefully he can deliver outrageous horsepower with bold-looking American vehicles. So that's it for talking about the recent news on SRT being revived. Hopefully you enjoyed exploring the possibilities of what we could be seeing soon regarding Stellantis' performance vehicles. So that's it for talking about the recent news on SRT being revived. Hopefully you enjoyed exploring the possibilities of what we could be seeing soon regarding Stellantis' performance vehicles. As always, thanks for watching, make sure to like and subscribe for all your Mopar content, and I'll see you all in the next video.